Hey, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a very special day for me because I will be talking about something that I really love. I loved it so much that I dedicated about 6 years of my life to study it. And this subject that I'm talking about is called mangroves. So, how many of you have heard about mangroves before? Yes, may I know, what is your definition of a mangrove?
It's a tree that's warm and usually it's in a tropical area.
Okay. Tree, swamp, tropical area. Anyone else want to add to that?
Muddy.
Muddy, okay, yes.
Roots.
The roots. Okay, and then? You are right, there are trees involved, but these trees are very unique because they're salt tolerant. That means if you throw them anywhere near the coastal area where there's salt water and a little bit of fresh water, they can survive. In fact, they thrive in this environment. And as a marine ecologist, I can tell you that salt water is not our friends. If you have anything, metal, or even plastic or rubber, if you don't take care of it, it will rust or it will degrade really fast. So salt water is actually quite corrosive in that regard. And they are usually in the intertidal environment. So they are exposed to the low and the high tides. And again, this cycle is quite harsh because one moment you'll be submerged underwater, so you're kind of relaxing underwater, you know, you're not really concerned about sunlight. But then when it becomes low tide, everything is exposed. So the roots, the leaves, the animals that live in the mangroves suddenly are exposed to dryness and sunlight. So very harsh environment. And tropical and subtropical regions of the world are usually where you find mangroves. And this is like a very general question for all the species that lives on this earth. If you have the choice, do you prefer to live in colder climates, like freezing temperatures, below zero temperatures, Arctic or Antarctic? Or do you prefer to live in a warm, toasty environment?
Yeah.
Okay, so show of hands, how many people like to live? Alright, so 100% of you prefer to live in warm and toasty environments. And it's the same for mangroves. Because you need to have basic needs. You have basic needs that you need to fulfill in terms of energy consumption. So if you live in a colder climate, most of it will go to warming up your body and surviving, basically. But if you live in a more warmer environment, you can spend your energy elsewhere, finding a home, finding food, or even finding that perfect mate for survival and also for future generations of offspring. Okay? And mangroves have high ecological and socio-economical importance for humans as well. Okay, and the diversity in mangroves is quite high. And if you compare a mangrove with a rainforest, there might be about a few hundred species living in a rainforest. But in a mangrove, the maximum species in Malaysia is probably around 30 to 40. But in terms of productivity, they are equal. So how is this possible? Because mangroves are harsh environments, but still they have high productivity. It all comes down to complexity. Right? So I'm sure that a lot of you have watched soap operas in the afternoon. Yeah? Very complex drama, very many different intrigues that you have to deal with. Yes? So do you like being in intrigue or complexity? No. As human beings, we prefer things to be simple and easy, which is true, actually. But in a mangrove environment, complexity is important to survival. Okay, for example, can I have Miss Adelina come forward and I'll show you what complexity means in a mangrove? Okay, so for now, just imagine that this is a bare habitat, there's nothing around this organism, nothing at all. So if a predator were to come and attack her, where could she run to?
Anywhere.
Anywhere, but there's open space everywhere. Exposed, vulnerable, rainfall, heat, and wind will affect her survival. Yes? Okay? So now, what happens when you introduce a little bit of complexity? Okay? So, complexity is defined as a physical structure. This, something that you can touch, is something physical, a physical structure. So if I was a predator and I wanted to attack you, so you can just hide under here, right? Or if I was wind, can you hold on to the table while I'll blow you away? Okay? So, physical structure helps to ensure survival, gives a little bit of protection to the organism. Right, now let's look at highly complex habitats, like mangrove for example. Alright, so let's just ask a few other organisms to live here. Is that possible? Yes? Okay. So we have our bird. Can you there? Yep. Our crabs. Yep. A few species of ferns. All living together in this very complex habitat. So that's why diversity and productivity is high, because you have different species and different components. Yeah? Okay, do you guys get that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You may return to your seats. Right? Okay, so the physical structures that contribute to complexity in mangroves are the roots. So there's these roots are called pneumatophores, and they are different shapes for different species. These are usually for rhizophora trees, and these are usually for Avicennia trees. Yeah? Okay? And again, as I explained before, if a habitat is complex, a lot of things can live on it. So in between cracks, you've got bivalves, and on roots, again, a few snails, and even under leaves, you can see barnacles. So it's an amazing thing. And because there's more surface area, it alleviates stress, provides food and shelter, and it gives you stability. Who doesn't like stability? Raise your hands. Everybody wants stability. Okay? In mangroves, the most dominant groups are Macrofauna. We call them benthos, and they live within or in the sediment surface. And these are some examples. Macrofauna are fauna that are bigger than half a centimeter. So even though these pictures show that they look like giants, they're actually this big. Yeah. And look at the coloration. Orange, red, green, so many beautiful species that you can see in mangroves. Okay. And for the smaller guys though, they have to blend in with the environment, so that's why the coloration is the same as the sediment and the tetraps. Okay. And they also contribute to the productivity of mangrove ecosystems. Now, this picture, these are the other animals that live in mangroves. This is taken from a trip to Cairns in Australia. As you can see, the crocodiles. Can you see it? No. Some of you can. Okay, good eyesight. But these guys, if they don't want to be seen, you will never see them. Yeah. Okay. And you've got your favorite barramundi. Who knows what barramundi is? Siakap, yes, that's right. You've got your birds and also monkeys. Yeah. So these are just a few methods that we use to study mangroves. We tag the trees and we sample using quadrants. This is my lovely volunteer here. Yeah. And also taking sediment samples, because everything important that you need to know about mangroves are in the sediment. The carbon, the nutrients, what's going on in the mangroves, you can see them in the sediment. Yeah. And of course, you usually observe, use nets, and finally receive to get your samples. And that's all for today. Thank you very much. I hope from now on that you feel that mangroves deserve your attention. They're not too glamorous, yes, they're too muddy and everything, but to me they're beautiful, and to you, they should be beautiful as well. Thank you.